Good evening, everybody. Auronnj here with another War of the Visions PvP video, and today we are doing episode 2 of Let's Talk Tanks, and we are reviewing the much requested Dario Horn as seen in slot 1 on the screen right here. Dario is a very good tank. I want to just start the video by saying that this guy can do the job of tank really well. He is better than Mont, and he's better than Mont for one specific reason. He can tank physical damage like Mont can, although not quite as good as Mont, but he can also tank magic damage, and he's actually one of the best magic tanks in the game. When he came out, this was something everybody was excited about. People were like, finally, we have a magic tank. He's an MR unit, which makes him more accessible to people, and he's really great at that. Essentially, he has two sub-jobs that will determine what you're going to run him as. If you want to run him as a Spellblade sub, boom, he's going to be your magic tank. If you want to run him as a Paladin sub, boom, he can be your physical tank. With Spellblade, he has Resist Magic, Magic Guard, and Taunting Spell. With Paladin, he has Saintly Wall, Sentinel, and Taunting Blade. In my opinion, his magic tank is his stronger build, and that's what you see on the screen right here. This is an example of a team comp that I would run with Spellblade Dario against magic teams. Rain and Ryryu here both use the same basic stats to do damage as Dario does. They both do slashing damage, and they both scale off of magic. So you can run this setup right here where you throw like Fenrir in to boost the magic resist even more, and then you buff everybody's slash damage, you buff everybody's magic stat, and you're off to the races. This team will slaughter mage teams. If we look right here, we'll see that this is Dario's stats in this squad, right? 5,000 HP, 33 defense and 26 spirit. Those are really good. Now, he gets 10 defense and spirit from his master ability. That's fantastic. With this build, he has 73 agility, so he's fairly quick. He's running Providence of Earth. That boosts his magic resistance even more. And Shadowrunner to boost his speed more. If we look before we get into fights, before any buffs, he's going to be sitting at 45% magic resist just at the beginning of the fight. And he's going to start fights by buffing his team's magic resist. So let's go into a battle and see how that works. Okay, for the battle for Magic Tank Dario, it is really hard to find pure magic teams right now in either Guild Wars or Arena. So what I did, just to test his abilities here, is I put this 5-man squad together to jump into a regular fight. This is going to be about the most aggressive magic damage you're going to be able to find. Especially Medina and Skull are fully built. We have a fully built Ramu, a fully built Trousseau in this group. Those are both +5 Platinum Rods and 2 Magic Espers. I also put Zombie Ryryu in there to show a little bit of the slashing magic type, and then Rain's in there because you're going to see Rain sometimes. So let's run this video, and let's see how Dario tanks these mages. And these are, again, like I said, these are as strong of mages as you're really going to see. Are there other mages out there? Yes, but let's see what he can do against them. Okay, so here we are. To start, we're going to just see what kind of damage these units can do against Dario before he buffs himself. Like, if they got to start the fight directly next to him, this is the kind of damage a Medina Flare would do to a Dario with 45% magic resist. He's also wearing a +5 Armor of Light here. So it's not going to one-shot him, but you can see 3,500 damage is nothing to laugh at. Almost 3,000 damage from Cosmo Plume there. Let's see like what a Blizzard would do. 2,000. So a fully stacked, fully juiced up Medina will still hurt Dario a lot if she can just hit him before he can do anything. But that's the thing here. This is before he can do anything. There's Stonaga Blade, you're looking at 2061, but Stonaga Blade and Hazard Slash, which you just saw, are not magic attacks. Drain Evocation is, so you can see that damage goes down to 649. Dario's not running slash resistance here, so Ryuryu's still going to be pretty effective against him. Jamming Thrust is a magic attack, 967 damage. Fyra, magic attack, 688. So Rain, you can see Rain is not a true mage. And his damage was nowhere near what Medina's was. So what about Skull? Skull's Limit Break, you're looking at 964 damage. And that's a multi-hit attack. What about Flare, his hardest hitting attack? 2,000. So there you get to see the kind of power that Medina has if she can be allowed to function in a match, which can be kind of tough for her. Okay, so now let's pass it to Dario. One thing about him that's really great is he's smart enough that he will cast this at the beginning of fights. So he just buffed his magic resist and his teammates' magic resist. And Medina's Flare drops down to 997 damage as his magic resist goes to 83%. That's crazy. So this is why he's such a good magic tank. His AI is smart enough to cast his magic resist buffs, especially if he has friends to buff that on. He loves hitting multiple people with that buff. So you actually need to work your comp around people gathering to him early, so he'll buff that and move forward. 199 from Ryuryu there. Now Hazard Slash, still going to hit hard because it doesn't scale against magic resist. So if you were running against a lot of like zombie Ryuryus or Spellblades, you'd want to add some slash resistance in here. And then last, let's check out Rain's Jamming Thrust. What kind of damage are we looking at here? 298. Negligible damage. This is what makes Dario a great magic tank. He also, if he has the time, before he's in aggro range, will cast Magic Barrier on himself. Look at this damage. Look, this is nuts. 559 from Medina's Flare. That's crazy. We're just going to go ahead and cast it for fun. Drain Evocation, what are we looking at here? Oh, no, that is Stonaga Blade. We want Drain Evocation. We want the actual magic attack. So, 112. Great, let's do that. Boom. Oh, it hit for 111. Didn't even hit for the full damage. Let's throw another Flare on here just for fun. Great. That's Jamming Thrust, because, you know, that move is ultra meme level. Ooh, 186. Big damage. Adelard would be so disappointed in that. Flare. 595. Flare again. And magic attacks don't chain, so 678. So check that out. He just took a magic attack from 4 fully stacked, fully charged, like ready to go mages. And then Taunting Spell. I'm going to pause right here on Taunting Spell because I want to talk about that for a second. In a fight, here's how Dario will work as a magic tank. He will buff his magic resist buff first. He will then use his magic shield second if he's not in range to use Taunting Spell. Taunting Spell is a very, very cheap move, and if you just turn his other moves off, he'll just use it over and over again, and he'll hold hate against mages the whole fight, and literally just never die. You don't need to run a healer, he's got it covered himself. Alright, so that was Magic Tank Dario. Now what about Paladin Physical Tank Dario? How does that work? And especially, this is important because we're in a very physical damage meta right now. Piercing comps are everywhere. Missile comps are really coming back hard right now. And with Luartha coming out, you got to think they're going to surge again. So how does Dario work as your physical tank if he's the only tank you got? Well, here's the setup I'm running for him. He's going to just get, you know, the best armor you have. Slap that golden armor on him or platinum helm if you have one. I like Ribbon because Agrius exists in this game. And then I like his own TMR for that extra AP generation because Taunting Blade, which is what Paladin Dario has, is so much more expensive than Taunting Spell from his Spellblade. I'm going to keep Golem on him here because I think Golem is about as good of a tank Esper as you can get. And then here's Vow of Love. So here's that card that's going to get him that initial aggro so he can charge up a Taunting Blade and in theory keep all your tanks alive. So let's run some video of him in actual fights as a physical tank. Okay, so here is a mixed damage squad in Arena with a Kayn, a Lucia, and an Engelbert. So 3 UR characters, piercing damage, missile damage, and slashing damage. Let's see how physical tank Dario can do into this. I want to note here first that Dario only has 2 abilities on for this fight. He has his physical shield, Saintly Wall, and he has Taunting Blade. Saintly Wall is the key here. It costs a ton of TP to use. I believe it costs 40 TP. That will generate 20 AP for Dario that is actually boosted by his TMR sword. That will give him the ability to cast Taunting Blade on turn 2. So it's almost his turn. Here's Engelbert. Engelbert gonna buff his move and jump, which puts him in a really cool place. But there's Saintly Wall from Dario. He's got that physical shield on, and he's running move and jump +1 from Shikuchi. That lets him move like Mont and get out there into the front of the fight. So how is that going to work? How will his damage mitigation work here? Engelbert not quite in range to do anything yet, but Engelbert takes a lot of damage from Glaciella. So here we go. Here's Kayn's Limit Break. This is going to hit our Kayn and Dario. Dario takes 891 damage from that. Negligible. Now, he has his shield up, and he has enough AP, he's able to Taunting Blade on his second turn. So now he's not in that situation where he's only going to take 2 attacks and then be out of hate. He's ready. He's going to tank this whole fight. As long as our units can stay away from him, he's going to sit here and soak damage the entire time. Now, his shield has run off, so he's taking a little more damage than he was before, but he's still standing. He finally goes down. Lucia finally is able to chew through him, but it's that team's last move of the match, and they drop. So you could see Dario really putting in the work there. All right, let's watch another fight with Dario to see if he can repeat those results on with more normal movement. That Engelbert we just went up against had that weird movement buff where he got into a weird spot. So let's see how Dario's more typical movement is going to be as a physical tank against a team that's not going to force him to go up and over the mountain like he did. Although, again, take note, with move 4 and jump 2, he was able to go up that mountain, which put him in a great spot to tank damage for the team. So, yeah, here we go. We're going to start off with Glaciella just buffing herself, Kayn's going to buff himself, and we're off to the races. Enemies running Ayaka, Cecil, Kayn here. So kind of an interesting squad, going with a healer instead of a tank, kind of depending on Cecil's buffs to tank damage, but he buffed magic resist. That's not what we're here for. We're here to see Dario put his physical shield on and go straight over the top to what we called Mont's spot in our last video. It's one of the better spots on this map to just tank damage from, because you're just in everybody's range. Now, Glaciella also took an AoE there. Man, that's okay. That wasn't a big hitting AoE. Dario took almost nothing. Again, Dario has taken 2 massive attacks and is just living the dream over here tanking everything. Taunting Blade on turn 2 recharges his hate, which was out. Kayn gets to go again, pokes him for 496. Like, no big deal. Enemy Cecil couldn't get in range of him, so he went ahead and hit Glaciella. Dario's still tanking like a champion. Boom, fight's over. We have all 3 people left. So had this been a Guild Wars battle or something, we would have been in a pretty good spot to go into our second fight, get that physical shield up for Dario again, and he could have taken even more hits while Kayn and Glaciella had a chance to earn us more than 3 stars. Alright, so what's my overall rating of Dario? How do I rank this unit compared to the other tanks? I'm going to give him a 92 out of 100. He would get an A in my book as a tank. If we break this down line by line, as a physical tank, I give him an 88. With his shield on, he is very capable of tanking anything. The first 3 hits he tanks with that 50% reduction shield on, I mean, he's going to tank those like nobody's business. He's like Engelbert out here tanking that stuff. After that goes away, his physical tanking ability falls off a little bit, and you could see that if fights got long, like a Lucia was able to chew through him eventually, a Kayn was able to chew through him eventually. Again, his resists, besides magic resist with his passives, are not very good. So he doesn't get that whisper effect where he can just be built to tank a specific type of physical damage. He's more of an overall physical tank that can really make his first 3 hits that he takes negligible. So I give him an 88 there. Really good at it, just not the best. Magic tank. This is where he excels. I give him a 95. He excels as a magic tank for 2 reasons. One, just with his passives, he can get to 45% magic resist. Then he will start every fight by buffing his magic resist up into the 80% if you have that ability turned on and you're running Spellblade. And if you're not doing that, you're just doing it wrong. So he's immediately just not taking very much damage. Then if he's still not able to get into range of somebody, he'll put a magic shield on himself and tank even less. Hate generation as a Spellblade revolves around Taunting Spell, which is very cheap to use, and you can use a lot of times. So you can just turn his magic resist buff on, his magic resist shield on, and Taunting Spell on, and the only things he'll do is buff his magic resist and Taunting Spell people, which is exactly what you want your magic tank to do against a bunch of mage teams. I would suggest mixing in a golem or some kind of physical tank Esper, just to make up for the fact that he's really going to take a lot of physical damage if it's not a pure mage team, and there's not a lot of pure mage teams right now. But that meta might come back around, and then Dario's value is just going to skyrocket. He's already great. If magic really brings it back, he's going to be even better. His damage is pretty lackluster. I give him a 70 here because as a Spellblade, you could turn on Eraga Blade. You can build his group around slash attack and magic up, so his taunting spells will hit kind of hard, but you're not running him for damage. Even with a level 99 Ramuh card, his magic stat is not going to like jump up into the 8 or 900s. It's going to stay down under 500. But that's okay. You're not running him for damage. Any damage that he does is kind of just a bonus. His movement. Okay, like Mont, I'm going to score him a 99 in movement. 2 things to say here. As a Spellblade, you have an option. You can give him more agility and have him get more taunting spells off, or you can give him Shikuchi and have him move with a 4 move and 2 jump, just like Mont, so he can really access the other team and get more taunting spells off. 4 move and 2 jump is just so good on a tank, and any tank that has that, I'm going to give it a big score to. So he has access to that. Great for him, 99 out of 100. Speed, 80 out of 100. For a tank, he's pretty fast. He's not like I'm Orlando with, Odin, Esper, and Bells fast, but he's fast. And since he's a magic tank, you can run Fenrir on him, the vision card, which gives even more agility. So 80 out of 100, pretty good. Utility, I'm going to give him even a higher score than that, because as both versions of his tank form, he can really take care of all of his own buffs. He can buff his magic resist, he can buff his physical resist. Great. He can also, you can adjust his agility through passives, you can adjust his movement through passives. It's really good utility. I'm going to score him an 85 there and feel pretty comfortable about it. So overall, 92 out of 100, better than Mont if Mont is our baseline, and a really, really good unit. If this is the only tank you have, you're fine. You're going to be able to tank any type of team with Dario and feel pretty good about yourselves. So yeah, that's what I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed episode 2. I hope you're having fun playing Dario. He's a lot of fun for me to use. I know back when I streamed, I had a couple Dario mains who would just send videos with only Dario in. I always liked watching those. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you next time.